Walk on, you little nanas. You lot know the pattern. Elmathso's here to spit some knowledge in your skull. But listen, man needs to get something off my chest. A couple man texted me like, oh, senor, please upload. I listen, can't all the talk, you little nan. Man's been telling you lot, this don't pay for man's bills. This don't pay for the gas. This don't pay for the electrocution in my technology. This don't pay for the socks on my kids' toes. Unless one of you lot want to pay for my salary. Don't chat to me, I understand you little nan. Anyways, look, let's jump straight to this. A little light work thing as usual. Man's gonna take difficult and make it simplification. So give me a sec. Let me drink a little something. You lot know the pattern. Okay, a little something to get me started. So now let's look at this topic quick thing, you get me? Man's gonna make this easy as usual, yeah? So now you don't need to focus though, innit? Make sure you're not on your phone, fam. Put that shit away, cause when I'm talking, you lot better be listening, you understand, rude boys? So now listen. Listen to what's going on now, yeah? Basically, what we're trying to do here is obviously this topic's called, obviously, if you read this, similar triangles and shapes, whatnot, yeah? Calm. Now listen. This is what you don't need to understand. Man's gonna show you a little methodology you man can learn, you get me? When you learn this methodology, you can apply it to any type of question that comes up, you understand? This is what I call the Elmathso methodologies. Alright, now listen up. So, basically, this is T, okay? And obviously they've given 3, 4, they've given 7 T. They obviously want us to find T, yeah? So let me just put the question here. So the question is, solve for T, yeah? Solve for T. Alright, cool, now listen up. This is really important. Now, the first thing you might be asking yourself here, what's these lines like? Why is there one line here, one line here? Why is there 2 lines here, 2 lines here? Basically, what they're trying to say is that those angles are the same. For example, this one here is exactly the same as this one, yeah? And this angle here is exactly the same as this angle. For example, if they put 3 lines, like 1, 2, 3, and then they put 1, 2, 3 lines here, they'd be basically saying that this angle here is exactly the same as this angle here. Now, the reason why they're saying that to us is because they're trying to let us know that these triangles are similar. So these are similar triangles. Okay, let me just rub all this bullshit out now, my bad. So these are similar triangles. You get me, fam? So that's what they're trying to tell us. That's why they're letting us know that this angle representing one line here is exactly the same as this angle representing one line here. You get me? And of course, as I said, this angle, which has 2 lines, is exactly the same. Yeah, it's exactly the same as this angle here, which also has 2 lines. Okay, cool. So normally in the question, they'll let you know it's similar triangles, but I'm just trying to let you lot know why they're doing that. You get me? Okay, cool. Now let's move on. Now, this is what you lot need to understand, yeah? You see, because this angle here is here, that means, yeah, this line here represents the same as this line here. You get me, fam? And because this 2 lines is here, this 2 lines is here, obviously this line here represents this line here. What I mean by represent, I don't mean represent. I'm just trying to make you lot understand, like, basically what I'm trying to say is, yeah, that these are the lines you're going to be comparing. So you're going to be comparing this blue one with this one, this blue one. You're going to be comparing this green one with this green one. But it makes sense, you get me? Because they're on the same thing. So for example, this triangle here is literally just a bigger version of this triangle. You get me? They look exactly the same. You get me, fam? And what you need to understand here is say, okay, so I'm going to compare this one to this one. That's cool. I'm going to get that out of the way. I'm going to compare this one to this one. Now, the question is, how do we solve this? Let's look at this now. Yeah, I'm going to show you that one by one. The formula I like to remember is you do the big one, yeah, divided by the small one, and you make it equal to the other big one, and you divide that one by the small one. You get me, fam? Like how light work thing. Now listen up. You don't need to understand how we do this. What's that? Let me drink some. Alright, cool. Now what do I mean by big one? What do I mean by small one? Now listen. We look at the big one. This is obviously the big triangle, okay? And this is obviously the small triangle, okay? Now let's say if I look at this one. So the big one over the small one, okay? Let's say if I look at this 7 right here. This is the big one, okay? So I'm going to put 7 on the top there, okay? I'm going to have to divide it. So remember, this 7, yeah, represents the big one, yeah? I'm going to have to divide it by the, 1 minute, I'm going to have to divide it by the small one. So the small one is this 3 right here, okay? So I'm going to have to divide it by 3, okay? So far, I hope you're good. So I've looked at the big triangle, yeah? And I've said the big line 7 here, divided by, so remember this is the big line 7, divided by the smaller one, but on the same side. So this 7 here and this 3 here. You get me, fam? So that's the same line, these blue lines. That's what I'm looking at right now. Okay, cool. Once I've discovered that, let me take that away. that's going to be equal to the big one over the small one, but now I'm going to be looking at the green line. So this t here, this is the big one. Yeah, so I'm going to put 2t there. Divide that by the other small one, which is this one right here. So I'm going to put 4 there. You get me, fam? Listen, I hope you're understanding what I'm doing. Now listen, copy this down. I'm going to go through this one more time. Because I need you lot to fully understand this bit. Because if you don't understand what I'm doing right now, then the other questions I'm going to be getting onto ain't going to make no sense to you. You get me? So I'm going to rub all this out, okay? So if you copied it down, thank God. If you haven't, pause it, copy it down, because I'm going to rub this out quickly. Don't worry, I'm going to come back again. I just want to, explain this one more time to you lot, because I don't want you lot to bug out. Okay, cool. Now, the first thing is, yeah, so remember what I've written here. I've written big one over small one. Cool. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at the big triangle. I'm going to pick out the line that they've given us. So that's 7 they've given us, yeah? This 7 they've given us. Okay, so I'm going to put 7 right there, big one, okay? Man's going to divide that. Now I'm going to look at the smaller triangle. Now, where does that 7 correspond on the smaller triangle? So what I mean by that, yeah, is where is this line, yeah, this one on the smaller triangle? Obviously, it's right here, my guy. You get me? I hope you're understanding what I'm saying right now. That's the same line, you get me? It's the same line as this one here, yeah? Cool, so 7, so that's the big one divided by the small one. We just discovered the small one to be 3, yeah? So let me just rub that out now. So I'm going to put 7 over 3. Okay, cool, so now I'm going to try that again. So it's equal to the big one over the small one. So I'm going to look at the big triangle now. The one that they want us to find is t, so this is the big one, t. So I'm going to put that there. And then I'm going to divide it by what's there on the left-hand side. So this one here, it corresponds to that t, so it's divided by 4. So listen, I hope you're understanding what I'm doing. Okay, I really, really hope you're understanding what I'm doing right now. Cool, so now I need to make t the subject, okay? So now the question is, how do I do that? I'm going to rewrite it down here, yeah? So 7 over 3 is equal to t over 4. Now, let's get one thing clear right now. I want to make t the subject, okay? I want to make t the subject. Now, as you can see, I've got 7 over 3 is equal to t over 4. Now, t over 4, so t is being divided by 4, so it's t divided by 4, okay? Now, in order to get rid of the 4, because I want to make t the subject, so basically what I want is t is equal to ... I want t by itself, okay? Now, in order to make t by itself, I need to get rid of this division by 4 thing. Now, what's the opposite of division? It's multiplication. So if I want to get rid of a division by 4, I need to multiplication by 4. You get me, fam? A little light work thing. So what I need to do is I need to say this times it by 4. But remember, whatever you do to one side, you have to do to the other side. So I'm going to times this side by 4 as well. And the reason I do this is because, as you can see, let me change color. This 4 and this 4 cancel out. So you're just going to be left with this t here. You get me? So I'm going to be left with t on the right-hand side. No, my bad. Yeah, that's on the right-hand side. Okay? Because that t is there. These 4s cancel out. Remember that. So you're just left with t. And then you're left with 4 times 7 over 3 like this. Now listen, you're going to be given a calculator, so you're going to be able to find these out. So what's that? That's going to be 28 over 3. So t is going to be equal to 9.3 recurrent. Something like that. Or you can leave it as 28 over 3. Doesn't really matter. So listen, so far, I hope you've understood what I've done. I really, really hope you've understood what I've done so far. So all I've done is I've compared using big one over small one is equal to big one over small one. And then what I've done here is I've just made t the subject. Okay, so I've just taken this equation right here. Yeah, and I've made t the subject. And that's given me t is equal to 9.3 occurrence. Say nothing, a little light work thing as usual. Okay, now let's look at another question. So I'm going to rub all this out now. We're going to do a couple questions because I want you lot to fully, there's a couple methodologies in that we need to pick up. You get me? So 1 second. 1 second, let me rub all this out. Oh, am I going to have to rub out this thing as well? I think I am still. 1 second, let me see. Oh, I can't even rub that. 1 minute, hang on a second. How do I rub all this? Oh, I'm going to have to erase it still. I'm going to have to erase all that. What the fuck? 1 second, give me a second. I'm trying to learn this thing, you get me? Yeah, that's it. Crossed it. Yeah, cool, man's there. Don't watch that, man's got you, lot. Alright, now let's look at another question, yeah? Let's say, for example, the question was something like, alright, let's bring another type, yeah? So let me just, alright, cool. Alright, cool. Don't watch that, man's got you, lot. Give me a second. Alright, let's say if we had a triangle, yeah, like this. Let's say if we had one triangle like this. Okay, this looks like one wonky... Listen, don't even violate man's triangle with it, you get me? Because... Alright, let's say this is... Oh, that looks too bad, man. Yeah, let's say this is the triangle, yeah? And then, I know, listen, normally, obviously, it's going to be straight lines and that, but don't violate it. So let's say, for example, this says 3 meters here. Let's say it says 9 meters here. Let's say this distance here to here is x, okay? And let's say this distance from here to here is 3.5. Let's say if they tell us this is similar and they tell us to solve for x. So solve for x now, yeah? All right, cool. So these are the steps. The first thing you're going to do is, as you can see, there's one big triangle, yeah? So there's one big triangle, and then there's this one little small one hiding right in here. So that's the small triangle, yeah? And the big triangle is the whole thing, you get me? The big triangle is the whole thing, and the small triangle is this one, okay? Now, listen. This is what you do. You're going to take the small triangle out. So you see this small triangle right here? Man's going to take that out, yeah? So what I'm going to do, give me a second, let me take that out. So I'm going to take out the small triangle. So this is the small one, remember that, yeah? So this is 3.5, okay, 3. Calm little lightwork thing. Now what you're going to do is you're going to take out the big triangle. You see this big thing right here? This is the big boy thing, you get me, fam? We're going to take this one out. So let me take that out. So I'm going to take out the big one. This is the big triangle. Give me a second, yeah? Now if I take out the big triangle, what is this full distance right here? The full distance from here to here is going to be x plus 3.5. You get me? Because obviously this distance here, from here to here, is x. And the distance from here to here is 3.5. Add them together and it gives you the whole distance. You get me? So I'm going to write x plus 3.5 here. And then obviously this one right here is going to be this one right here, which is 9 meters. So I'm going to put 9 meters. Calm little. Okay, cool. Now that I've done this, fam, exactly what we were doing like last time, yeah. I know I'm running out of space right now, but what I'm going to do, I'm going to try to fit it in it. So remember, yeah, it's big one over the small one is equal to the big one over the small one. You get me? Okay, so I know my handwriting's looking nuts, but you lot get it, just like the formula we used last time. All right, cool. So the big one, let's say if we're looking at this one right here, this is x plus 3.5, and on this triangle, the same line is this one right here. You get me? This corresponds to that line there. You get me, from a little light work thing. So as I said, remember, yeah, so this one, this one, this one, this one, this one, and then this one, this one, this one. These are the same things. So that's the big one over the small one. So I'm going to put x plus 3.5 divided by the 3.5. That's the small one, yeah? So remember that. So this is the big one is this one, and the small one is 3.5 from here. You get me? Little light work thing. Cool, cool, cool. Let me rub that out. Now we're going to equate that to the big one, so the big bottom. So this one right here is 9, so I'm going to put 9 right there. I'm going to divide it by the small one, so this 3. So remember, these are exactly the same, okay? That's why we use them, okay? So 9, we use these ones, so the lines, the green lines are exactly the same. Remember that, yeah? So I'm going to put 9 over 3. 1 second, I'm not bugging right now. No, yeah, 9 over 3. Calm, little light work thing. Now, I'm going to bring this down, and I'm going to have to solve. You get me? So the first thing I'm going to do is 9 divided by 3 is going to be 3. So I'm just going to rewrite that. So I'm going to write here, yeah. So x plus 3.5 over 3.5 is equal to 3. Okay, because remember, 9 divided by 3 is just 3. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to, remember, I want to make x the subject. Now, first things first, there's a division by 3.5 right here. Now, what's the opposite of division? Multiplication. Now, in order to get rid of division 3.5, I need to do multiplication by 3.5. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to times this thing here by 3.5, okay? But remember, whatever you do to one side, you have to do to the other side. So I'm going to times this side by 3.5, okay? Now, when you do this 3.5 cancel automatically, light work thing. So then I'm just going to be left with x plus 3.5 on the left-hand side. So x plus 3.5 on the left-hand side is going to be equal to 3 times 3.5, which should be 10.5. Obviously, double check these, just calm. Once you get here, I need to make x the subject, but right now I've got a plus 3.5 on the left-hand side. In order to get rid of plus 3.5, what I need to do is I need to take it to the right-hand side, but when you move it, it changes signs and it becomes minus 3.5. So I'm going to get x equals 10.5, but instead of plus, it's going to be minus 3.5. And so therefore, x is going to be 7. And that's the answer. X is 7. You get me, a little light work thing. So listen, I hope so far you're understanding everything I'm doing. Okay? I hope so far, let me just put that 3 line represents that. I hope so far you're understanding everything I'm doing. Okay? Now, what I'm going to do, I'm going to look at another question now. It might be a bit more tricky than this one. 1 second. Can I just rub this up? Like, yeah, that's better. You see that quick thing? Yeah, yes. I like that. Oh, what the fuck? No. Yeah. Calm. 1 second. One second. Yeah, got that. But man, saw that quick. Don't watch that for me, get me? Okay, cool, look. Let's look at another question now. Now, this one's going to be a bit more tricky, yeah? This one's going to be a bit more tricky. It's going to say, solve for x. Alright, cool. Let's say if we've got line there. Let's say if we've got like a little triangle here. One second. I want to try and make this one a bit neat, man. You lot use a ruler, obviously, innit? My thing's looking nuts right now. You lot, if you look and use a ruler. Alright, oh shit. One second. Oh, come on, man. I need it to connect. Alright, cool, that's calm. And then I'm going to put the little line here. Okay, cool. So I'm going to say this one here is 2.5 meters. I'm going to say this one here is 4 meters. Okay. I don't really care about the meters. I'm just putting it there anyway. I'm going to say the distance from here to here is 4. And then I'm going to say the distance from here to here is x. So exactly like last time, remember we take out the small triangle and then we take out the big triangle. So the small triangle is this one here, okay? And the big triangle is this whole thing. You get me? So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take out this small triangle right now, okay? So this is small triangle. Give me. Oh, come on, man. But you know what it is? It's because the thing's upside down as well. Okay, that's calm. So the small triangle's obviously got 2.5 here. So remember, it's this triangle right now. And then obviously the x is here on the right. So man's going to put x right there. Okay, now I'm going to take the whole triangle. Okay, now I'm going to take the whole triangle. So the whole triangle. Okay, so this distance here is going to be x plus 4. Remember, why is it x plus 4? Do you understand why it's x plus 4? It's x plus 4 because the distance from here to here is 4, okay? The distance from here to here is x. So the whole thing is going to be them added together. So x plus 4. Alright, cool. Let me rub this out. So x plus 4. And then now... Oh, 1 second. Yeah, x plus 4, yeah. And then obviously this bottom line here is just going to be the 4 meters because it's already given in it. So 4 meters. Alright, cool. Now we do exactly the same thing as we've been doing. We do exactly the same thing. There's nothing that's going to change right now. So big one. The only thing that's going to be different is you're going to see this one's going to be a bit more tricky than the other ones, but you're going to see it's cool in it. Now listen, we're going to do big one divided by the small one is equal to the big one divided by the small one. You get me? Alright, cool. Now let's take a look at this. So the big one, this triangle here is the big one, obviously, yeah? So let's look at this line right now. Let's look at this line right now. This one, this x plus 4 line. This corresponds exactly to this line right here. These are on the same sides, you get me? These are the same things. So it's the big one, which is x plus 4. So I'm going to put x plus 4. So this is the big one, yeah? Divided by the small one. And the small one is this x that's given here. So man's going to put x right there, okay? And that's going to be equal to the big one. Now the other big one we need to find. So obviously this is 4, okay? Now the same line is represented by the 2.5 here. These are the correspondent lines, yeah? So basically it's going to be 4, which is the big one, divided by the small one, which is 2.5. So I'm going to put 4 divided by 2.5. Alright, calm. Listen, I really hope you're understanding what I'm doing. Like, honestly, I really, really hope. Like, yeah, it'll be good if you do. It'll be good if you do. Now, let's continue to what I was saying. So now, all I need to do is I need to make x the subject. But as you can see, there's an x here, there's an x here. That's moving nuts, okay? We can't have that. So listen up. This is what we need to do. Firstly, 4 divided by 2.5, what is that? I think that's 1.6, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to rewrite this up here. So x plus 4 over x is going to be equal to that's going to be 1.6, okay? Sorry about the color change. Actually, now let me not do that. Let me put it in black in it because I don't want to confuse you. I want you lot to stay consistent with the colors and that. So x plus x over x. Sorry, x plus 4. Fucking hell. My bad, innit? It's like 12:30 AM and that. Alright, so x plus 4 over x is equal to 1.6. Alright, cool. Now, let me drink some. Alright, cool. So x plus 4 over x is equal to 1.6. Now, listen up, yeah? Now that we know this, x plus 4 over x is equal to 1.6. What we need to say to ourselves is, I want to make x a subject. So what I'm going to do now is, I'm going to try to get rid of this division, because whenever you see division, always try to change it to multiplication, because we don't like division. So in order to do that, I'm going to times both sides by x. So I'm going to times this side by x. I'm going to times this side by x. So this becomes 1.6x, but obviously on the right hand side, these x's cancel, you get me, which is calm. So now I'm going to have x plus 4 is equal to 1.6x. Because remember, because I multiplied x by here, I had to also multiply it on the right hand side, because whatever you do to one side, you do to the other side. Don't ever forget that. Now, I'm going to take all the x's to one side. So this x here, this positive x, I'm going to take it to the right hand side. Now remember something, yeah? That x has an invisible 1 in front of it. I know you lot don't see it, but it does. So when you take it to the right hand side, it's going to become minus 1x. So what I mean by that, you're going to have 4 equals 1.6x minus 1x. You get me? So now you say to yourself, okay, 1.6x minus 1x, what is that? 1.6x minus 1x is obviously 0.6. So if you put in your calculator 1.6 minus 1, you're going to get 0.6, you get me? So what I'm going to rewrite that now. I'm going to put 0.6x, because I don't have enough space, so I can't rewrite these. Now what I do is, remember, this is 0.6 times x, okay? Now I want to make x by itself. However, there's a multiplication with 0.6. Now how do I get rid of multiplication? Division, because that's the opposite. So what I have to do here, yeah, is, let me take it here for a second. So 4 is equal to 0.6x. What I have to do is I have to divide both sides by 0.6. So divide this by 0.6. But because I'm doing it to this side, I have to also do it to this side. So therefore, as you can see, boom, boom, you're going to be left with x there. And you're going to be left with 4 divided by 0.6. God knows what that is. What is that, like 6.6 or something? Okay? So listen, obviously check these answers as well. Check these answers, make sure it's all good and that. But yeah, that's that. Alright, cool. Alright, cool. Let's see what else I've got. Okay, I've got another question. Last question, don't watch that. I know you lot are probably getting bored and that. Last question. Give me a second. Let me rub all this out. Alright, this one's a nuts question as well. Alright, let's say if we had like a thing like this. I don't know what this is, fam, but this is a mad thing. Let's say if we had something like this, yeah? Actually, nah, that's not correct still. Let's say if we had something like that. Boom. This actually tends to happen. Okay, so this is given as 5. So this distance to here, this is obviously 5. This is given as 2.3. This is given as 17. So from here to here is 17. And then they want us to find x. Okay, cool. So obviously, look, exactly the same thing. So obviously, it's this smaller one, and obviously, this is the bigger one, as usual, yeah? So listen, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to do big one over small one is equal to big one over small one. Now, you might be asking yourself, you know, this 17 and this x, how do I know it's the same? Basically, what you do to yourself here is imagine if there was a mirror right here. If there was a mirror right here, this 17 would flip into x. You get me? So, for example, what I mean by that, yeah, is let's say if there was a mirror right here, if you were standing right here and you looked through in the mirror, you would see yourself here. Do you get me? That's how I know I'm going to be comparing these two. Like, just in case you're wondering, you know, you can just see it as a mirror. So this is 17, yeah? This is a Don standing here, yeah? There's a mirror right here. He's going to see himself right there. You get me? A little light thing. All right, just wanted to just put it out there. All right, cool. Now that we've done this, obviously, what I'm going to do, I'm going to look at the big line. So this triangle has a big line here. Oh, no, it's blue. What am I doing? So the big triangle right here, which is 5, okay, divided by the smaller line. So this one right here, because remember these are corresponding, yeah? So man's going to put divided by 2.3. And that's going to be equal to the big one. So obviously now we're looking at this big one right here, 17. Yeah, so man's going to put 17 right there. And the one that we're comparing 17 with is the one right there in the reflection, this X thing right here. Calm little light work thing. Now, what I'm going to do is I need to make X a subject. Now, as you can see, this is a bit weird, yeah? So man's going to show you a little trick. This X on the bottom, I don't want it on the bottom. It's not nice, yeah? So I'm going to flip this up. If I flip these two up, I also have to flip these two up. So what I mean by that is this 2.3 is going to go on the top and the 5 is going to come on the bottom. So you're going to get 2.3 over 5. And then when you flip these up as well, you get X over 17. So do you get what I've done there? All I've done is I've literally flipped the whole equation, both of them up and down. The reason why I've done that is because I want X here on the top. Do you get me? Now that we're here, obviously, all I'm going to do is we need to make X by itself, but right now it's being division by 17, you get me? Now, what's the opposite of division? It's multiplication. So in order to get rid of a division by 17, I need to do multiplication by 17. So I'm going to multiplication this side by 17, but remember, whatever you do to one side, you have to do to the other side, so I'm going to multiplication this side by 17 as well. Calm little light work thing. The reason I did that, 17 cancel, I'm going to be left with X is equal to 17 times 2.3 over 5, okay? And I think the answer should be X equals 7.82. Calm little light work thing. Listen, I really hope, listen, on a rule, I really hope this helped better your understanding, yeah? Don't watch that. More videos coming soon. Love.